As remote work reshapes the way we live and, of course, work, what does it mean for business culture, salary trends, and also workplace safety in what is a new era? To break it down, we're joined by Constance Aloe from Distinctive People. Great to have you here on the program, Constance. Obviously, there are a lot of HR companies, a lot of big companies, small companies, and workers trying to work it out at the moment. It's a tough time.
It is a tough time, and it's even harder for small to medium-sized businesses who are required to do exactly the same as those enterprise organisations, but with lesser budgets and less staff.
Yes.
So the consideration when it comes to remote work is it's definitely here to stay. And if you're an SMB, a small to medium-sized business, it's actually one of the selling points. So everything about operations has to change. Gone are annual performance reviews, you can wave those goodbye. Now it's more dynamic engagement and around quarterly engagement to get those value adds and feedback, and really focusing on clear systems and different systems for feedback. One of our clients has gone to the trouble of a CEO roundtable or a breakfast bite where he takes team members out for feedback on what's working and what they can do differently. And the other piece we're seeing is also just getting a sense of bringing in HR teams when you don't have an internal HR team to manage it for you. Yeah,
it's a really fascinating time. You talk about the larger corporations and the SMBs who are trying to compete, but it's interesting because you've got the same HR rules, no matter what size you are. But the good thing is there are a lot of smaller business now saying we don't actually need an office because we can have a team full of remote workers, and that means that if people work or don't work out, it's a simple shift.
Yeah, so the culture dynamics are so different, and how you determine how someone works out is really different. You know, we used to, like I said before, you have a performance review, once a year checkpoint to say, do you like your job? Do you like working here? Are you working okay? That doesn't work anymore. Business is so dynamic. And so we're seeing a trend to more culture surveys to get a handle. You know, culture was in the corridors, in the lunchroom. You could get a vibe check of what was happening.
Friday drinks.
Oh, Friday drinks.
Yeah, everyone knew each other a lot more. Do you think it's COVID and the lockdowns that changed things? Do you think it's inflation? Do you think it's the fact that job pressures, home pressures, everything seems to have changed over the past few years?
Everything has changed over the past few years, but to think that you could return to a 2019 landscape of how business worked is just foolish.
But there are plenty of big businesses doing that at the moment, forcing people back to the office.
Yes, so we're seeing a return to office or a return to desk, but in the SMB environment, and particularly our client group at Distinctive People, we're absolutely encouraging a remote work arrangement and sticking to a hybrid model. You get better talent pool in that hybrid model. Sometimes you could get even a 15-20% cost saving on a niche role. We had a client that was looking for a data scientist, and it's 20% cheaper in Adelaide than it is in Sydney to secure a data scientist. The caveat, though, in something like that is making sure that, yes, you've secured the talent, but you have to make sure that that onboarding is secure. Otherwise, you risk losing that talent.
That's a really interesting point. So the onboarding, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the onboarding systems have had to shift. So we're looking at a more engaged model. We're not waiting the 6 months to have a conversation and saying, is this right for me? We're seeing a trend of 1 month, 2 month, 3 month check-ins to really understand what's happening in an employee's world and seeing if they are actually in fact engaged in their work. We're seeing a trend in systems and culture surveys. So we're now seeing a shift to employee-led organisations and employee-led feedback. Even the legislation has changed, and it is very employee-led in terms of the industrial reforms that have happened off the back of the Labor government.
But that has changed the culture as well from a business standpoint, where it feels like there's been a greater divide between, particularly in smaller businesses, managers and employees as a result.
Yeah, so there's an increased shift in focusing on leaders. You know, the leader is the linchpin in any performance discussion, in any conversation. We've seen an uplift in work health safety and law reform in work health safety, in particular in New South Wales and Victoria that now have to manage psychosocial risks. So you're responsible as a leader for the psychological well-being of your team. And so how you have a conversation, the tools and techniques that you use to engage with your staff is super important. It's got a high cost attached to it. A psychological injury claim used to be at approximately 148K, now it's 288K, and they've doubled in 6 years. So it's got a high cost consideration for any employer, but particularly in SMB, where every dollar counts.
Yeah, very much so. How can people find out more from your organisation?
Oh, they're welcome to contact us at Distinctive People by visiting our website or giving us a phone call.
All right, you've done a wonderful job explaining it to us all today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.